Good afternoon. Is it audible? Sunny, is it audible?
Yeah.
Good afternoon and very warm greetings to all the participants present here. On behalf of the management of JMJ College for Women, Tenali, I, Dr. N. Vimla Devi, Head of the Department of English, gladly welcome you all to the third day of National Webinar-cum-FDP on Advanced Research Methodology and Data Analysis in the Digital Age. It's my great privilege to welcome our Honorable Speaker, Dr. S.K. Kamruddin, Assistant Professor, Department of Management and Commerce, Maulana Azad National Urdu University. Before we begin this auspicious third day session, let us invoke the Almighty God for all His graces and divine blessings. I invite Sister Bhagirani will lead the prayer.
Got the river of love flow into my heart. Got the river of peace flow into my heart. Got the river of love flow into my heart. Got the river of peace flow into my heart. As a sunflower longs for the sun, my eyes longs for you. As a sunflower longs for the sun, my eyes longs for you. Got the river of love flow into my heart. Got the river of peace flow into my heart. As a pilgrim longs for the shrine, my soul longs for you. As a pilgrim longs for the shrine, my soul longs for you. For the river of love flow into my heart. For the river of peace flow into my heart. As a dry land longs for the rain, my heart longs for you. As a dry land longs day. My heart longs for you. God, the river of love flow into my heart. God, the river of peace flow into my heart.
Before we commence the session, I would love to give a few instructions. Dear participants, please mute your audio and switch off your video throughout the webinar in order to avoid inconvenience. If you have any questions during the presentation of the resource person, please post your queries in the chat box. Your doubts and questions will be clarified at the end of the presentation. Thank you for your kind cooperation. Today's session would include the advanced topic regarding how to write a research proposal. We are fortunate to have excellence and guest speaker to share his expertise with the participants. I believe that this webinar will provide a platform to discuss and acquire new insights on the topic how to write research proposal. I am very much delighted to introduce our today's eminent speaker, Dr. S.K. Kamruddin, Assistant Professor, Department of Management and Commerce, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. Welcome you, sir. Dr. S.K. Kamruddin has a wide teaching experience of 23 years at undergraduate, postgraduate and research levels. He involved in research, training and consultancy. Currently, he is working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Management and Commerce in Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. Before joining Maulana Azad National Urdu University, he worked for Vignan University at various levels. He obtained his PhD in Human Resource Development from Osmania University. He did his MPhil from MK University, Madurai, MA in Public Administration from SV University, Tirupati, and MBA from IGNOU. Dr. S.K. Kamruddin is actively engaged in research work on various aspects. His areas of interest include human resource development, organizational behavior, change management, spirituality, and management. He has published a good number of research papers and articles in reputed international and national journals, and presented papers in more than 50 national and international conferences. He is also a resource person to various government training centers, HRDS, different universities. He has authored 2 books and editorial board member in 4 journals and has efficiently organized more than 19 conferences, workshops and FDPs. Under his guidance, 4 PhDs and MPhils were awarded. He delivered more than 200 lectures on spirituality, human resource management, stress management, resilience and life skills on various platforms including government training centers like HRDCs, district training centers. Dr. Kamruddin is a trainer in life skills, personality development, stress management, heartfulness meditation trainer, and other related areas. He designed the life skills, stress-free life, professional development skills programs for universities, colleges, and corporate sectors. He has been a member in professional bodies of Global Organization for Stress, United States of America, All India Management Association, New Delhi, Indian Society for Applied and Behavioral Sciences, International Economic Development Research Center, Hong Kong, International Society for Development and Society, Japan, Teachers and Educational Research Association, life member, and life member in South Asia Management Association. Congratulations to you, sir. He carried out a couple of research projects on effect of heartfulness meditation on emotional well-being and competencies of the students, a study of Hyderabad colleges sponsored by Maulana Azad National University, Hyderabad. And one more project on Impact of organizational climate on occupational stress of police personnel of Hyderabad city, ICSSR, New Delhi. To his credit, he has received APJ Abdul Kalam Excellency Award in Academic Excellence by Navakala Vedika at Hyderabad, 15th October 2020. Exemplary Educationist Award given by Indo-Global Chamber of Commerce and Industries at Pune on April 2018, and has received Young Educationist and Motivator Award from South Asia Management Association in 9th International Conference of South Asia Management Association held from January 2018. Received Best Teacher Award from Vignan Engineering College. Of all this, he is a humanist and social service activist. Sir, we are extremely happy with your presence. You are a living legend. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and bestowing us with your presence. I am sure we will enrich it by your talk. Once again, I cordially invite Dr. S.K. Kamruddin, Assistant Professor in the Department of Management and Commerce in Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad, to address our esteemed participants of the webinar. Dear participants, please note there will be an interactive session. You can interact with our esteemed speaker and clarify your doubts and queries after the presentation. Thank you, and I wish you all the best. Sir, please continue the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your cordial invitation and a humble reading of the message and just the brief introduction of me. So, thank you very much for all the participants for being here in this presentation. Today, just I want to have some discussion with you people regarding the how to write a research paper for academic purpose. It's not the business purpose, that is the different line. Something, 1 second.
Sir, please unmute.
Yeah. Uh, are you able to listen to me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
So now is it PPT is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
Yes, it's visible.
yeah. So let us start with a small discussion. Is now that is the so far the objective of this research methodology, and there is the research purpose is going on. and we are having the discussion for the last 2 days about the research. One small aspect before going into how to write a research proposal, and I want to make a small question, and you can answer it in inbox. Why do one should do the research? What is the need of doing the research? Why do we do the research? And we are having the webinar or faculty development program on research methodology, and application softwares for analyzing the data like SPSS, SAS, and R softwares, etc., etc. And we have the discussion. We are going to have a lot of discussion. And before that, let us make a small, what we say, that an interaction with this. Why one should do the research? What is the need of the research? What would we get research? Is it promotion, or is it something else out of the research? Or because a PhD degree or research degree is needed for the sake of the promotion? So is it the purpose? Or more than that, any other purposes are there to do the research? So this is the question with which we define the that's what I am asking. That no, very nice. Research can help define career goals and personality traits and hellos for continuous improvement. In Balaji sir, nice. There is in the word itself. There is the research, means you are searching which is existing, you are searching which is not existing. There are the two kinds of the things we do. In the word itself, there is a, if you take the case parishodhana, there is the shodhana. Your shodhana means మనం దేనికో కోసం శోధిస్తూ ఉంటాం. తెలుగులో రీసెర్చ్ మీనింగ్ పరిశోధన అంటే దేనికోసమో పరిశోధన చేస్తూ ఉంటాం, శోధిస్తూ ఉంటాం. When we come to the English word, there is the re plus search and research, and we are searching for something else, and we are trying to find something else. Yes, what we are trying to find something else, and how we have to how do we have to find something else, and how do we know the path of these things to go ahead to find something else? The answer is the research and research methods, research methodology. There are the three aspects. Research, you are searching for something, and to search for something, and we develop certain methods to search in scientific systems, in a scientific and systematic way. That is called methods. And there is ology, methodology. The systematic searching of something is called the research methodology. This is what is the basic idea of it. So why do one should do the research? It depends. The mottos are different from one person to another person. One individual to another individual. There are the different mottos we do have.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
No.
Are you presenting any slides, sir?
Yeah.
Not visible, sir.
Coming to the slide.
Okay.
So, this is the slide is visible now, ma'am?
Ma'am, yes, sir.
Good,
Yes,
good.
it's visible.
Thank you. So, this is the this is what we say that why do we make and there are the suppose if a common question that is posed that why we do the research, there are the various reasons for various people, different reasons for different kinds of the people, different goals for the different kinds of the people. This is the what we say that about the research. And another thing is, since we are in the teaching fraternity, we are in teaching, we are the teachers, and we are the researchers, we are the trainers, we are the consultants. We play different roles. It's simply like the past. Now the days of the teacher is not confined to only the classroom teaching. His horizons has been expanded. When you take the case of the national education policy, that is called popularly New Education Policy 2020, the universities and the colleges are being going to be graded into various levels. That the exclusive research universities and the research centers and teaching intensive colleges, autonomous colleges, multidisciplinary colleges. In various modes, the various purposes have been defined in our new education policy. So, taking into the backdrop of all these things and keeping into the mind that suppose visualizing the future of our careers and visualizing the future of the teaching and the research, I want to say something that the era that is going to come is for the research with academics, academics with research, research with academics. This is going to be intertwined. This is the major focus of new education policy. So, by taking into consideration of these aspects, why one should have to do the research? Because research is major objective of research always is that to add knowledge to the existing one, or to create a new knowledge base is always the purpose of research. We create a new knowledge base, or we add new knowledge base, or we modify the existing things and through the research process only. So, and there is another what we say the limitation of our thinking regarding the research is, so we feel that publishing a paper is the research, and second thing is completion of the PhD and getting awarded the PhD and keeping a prefix of a doctor and itself finishing of the research. Just most of the people we think that completion of the PhD itself and end of the research, but no. But our research really started from after the awarding of the PhD degree only. And this is the means, the PhD degree is a means to start our journey in research. And through PhD degree, and we understand what we say that we understand how to do the research and how to make the things to be done and how to develop the certain postulations and depending upon that how to conclude that. And all these processes have been tried before completion of the research in the form of the research methodology, in the form of thesis writing, in the form of the report writing, in the form of the submission. This entire process a person would go, this PhD degree is that he is being trained and he is being getting ready and to do the research. So next aspect is okay. So far we discussed what is the research, 5 research methods, and what is the research methodology, and we understand it that is the various purposes that the people go for the PhD degrees, and the difference between the awarding the PhD degree and the starting of the research, and there is the various aspects so far we have covered. When we come to the case of here, okay, a general question may arise. Sir, most of the people who are working in degree colleges, most of the people who are working for state universities, private universities, etc. So, how do we do the research? So generally, so far especially in the Indian context, it is we believe that, and so far what we say that getting the PhD is itself is the completion of the research. But after that, in the context, in the settings of the colleges, in the settings of the university, we have to do work with the research. We have to take it forward of research for the sake of our career, for the sake of our interest, and for the sake of the society, because we are responsible for the society. So to take it forward, and there are the various bodies of knowledge. Various bodies of the knowledge means that is there are the science research is there, commerce and management. There is the other kind of the research, social science research, and languages research. Other this is the there are different bodies of knowledge and which is having the different types of the researches. When we come to the our aspect, sir, okay, it's good. Up to undergraduate, up to getting the PhD, and we accept a JRF and some ICSR funding. And without funding, most of we people do with our own money and without we do all this research and we bear the expense of the research from our own pockets. Yes, this is true. This is true. But research requires some funding. Research requires some money to spend and to get the work done. So in this context, so when we are very much interested while doing the research, and we are very much interested to build our career on research aspects and research areas, we need some funding. How do we generate the funding for research? And how do we get the funding from various kinds of the agencies to do the research and to continue our research? And for that purpose, there are the various bodies which are funding. And suppose if you take the case of ICSR, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Education, and there is the what we say that University Grants Commission, and there are the NCRI, and there are so many other bodies are there, and which they are ready to give the funds. Apart from that, there are other foundations are there, Ford Foundation, and Melinda Foundation, and Rockefeller Foundation, and India also there are so many foundations are there, and they are ready to spend the money on the research and research areas and the research projects. Okay, this is the question number one is, that is the, I want to continue a research, but so far I have spent the money to do the research from my own pocket, but now I to continue to the research, I need some funding. So what are the funding agencies that will provide funding to me? And this is the list, this is what I mentioned, these are some of the agencies and which provide the funding. So okay, then the another question starts, how do I get the fund from either ICSR or UGC or from university or from NGOs or from any kind of the body or any kind of the private or profitable or private or public or NGOs? Suppose if we want to get the funding from any kind of the bodies, and how do we get the fund, and why do they give the fund to us, and how do we get the fund from from the various bodies or various organizations to do our work? How do we get? Because and there should be some intercommunication that has to take place between the person, those who is the fund giver, and the people and those who tries to raise the fund to do the research. No, this is the case. Then what we have to do, and we write for the, and we identify the need. We identify the need of we identify their needs, and we start writing a proposal. Proposal means we are proposing the work and how to work. That is called the proposal. And we start writing. No, what we do to get the fund, and what we do, and we write a research proposal. Now ICS are open for research projects from academic bodies, from non-academic bodies, and recently Department of Science and Technology announced the fundings, and at the same time this is what we say that Indian knowledge system, there is another body and which is also offering so much funding and for the sake of writing the proposals. So what is a proposal? And what is the proposal? What your proposal should speak to get the fund? Manaku What is the proposal, and how do we get the fund? And we get the fund and through by submitting a research proposal. So if every suppose for every proposal the people will give the fund, no, then it depends upon the funding. Generating the fund depends upon the success of your writing the research proposal. And what does it mean? What is the research proposal? It is nothing but your plan of action to do a particular work which you think that which is needed, which you think that which is to be addressed, and that is called what we say that is the research proposal. What is the research proposal? And recently, if you see the website of ICSR, and the date is extended up to I think that 3rd or 4th, and they said that research proposals are invited, and this is for 15 lakhs fund, and this is for 30 lakhs fund. Recently, Department of Science and Technology also, and they gave a link that they are saying that research proposals are expected in this particular area. So, what does this research proposal and what does it mean? Research proposal, it is nothing but what we say that your plan of action. You are going to you want some fund. You need some money to do the work. So when you need to the some work, and first what you want to do, and what you are going to do, and that you are going to make in a brief, that is called the research proposal. No. Suppose this is the very important aspect. Here, let us go with by an examples. Suppose one example I want to tell you. Suppose you are commerce people, or else we want to see that. Let us take one example, and you have some idea in your mind. What is idea do you have in your mind? Is what is the impact of post-COVID? Impact of COVID or the post-COVID impact on the attendance of the class students. And there is the pre-COVID era and the post-COVID era. Most of the education institutions are facing two kinds of the problem of post-COVID. One is the continuous absenteeism of the students. Second one is the continuous and constant depressive symptoms and mental health issues of the students. This is the existing problem. Suppose, let us take an example. And you have this idea, you observed that as a teacher. And we observed that most of the students are suffering from long-term chronic stress and depression because of the so many things that they lost during the time of the COVID. And as an administration, the another problem I try to put in front of you, that is and when the people are habituated to attend for the online classes, and the students are inclined, the resistance of the students is gradually increased to come physically and attend the classes. In one line, we can say that this is the absenteeism of the students and after COVID. This is the area which identified that you want to make it. So you want to study it. You want to study it. This is the problem you identified. The problem is absenteeism of the students. And the reasons you want to know. That is called what we say that identification of the problem. So when you identify this problem, what you have to do is, the first thing is, you have to make the title. And you have to bring the title out of it. The title of the research proposal itself should speak a lot what you are going to do. What we are going to do is indicated through the title. So let us take this example continuously. This is the stress levels of the students and the pre and the post COVID era. This is a title, and you want to make the study. And for that, you want to write for funding, sir. And you want to request for funding agencies. And there, what we have to, that step one, what we have to do is, That is the writing the research proposal. And in the research proposal, what is the step one? What we have to do? And first step one is you have to identify the issue. And we identified the issue, and we come across that that's the stress levels. There is the variation in the stress levels of the students, and before and after COVID. This is the area which you identified. Then you started, and you have to make it a systematic framing of this title. Then you write it that what you say that there is a study on the stress, pre and post stress levels of undergraduate students in Andhra Pradesh. He developed a title out of a problem, and you converted this out of the problem, out of the issue, and you converted this into a title of the your research proposal. And what is the problem? Problem is the students' absenteeism. You want to check it, and this is the pre and post era because of the stress levels. And so this is this rough idea, and you are to going to give in a kind of a title. You are converting into the form of the title, and you have fixed the title. That is called what we say that a study of pre and post stress levels of undergraduate students in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Now you define the title, and you define the title. So once if you define the title, what happens? Once if you define the title, the first thing you have to make is that is the you have to generate the problem statement. You identified it, no? Once if you identified, what you have to do? Once if it is identified, and we have to write what we say that a theoretical work we have to do on it. What is a theoretical work? A theoretical work, a systematic developed information on a particular aspect we have to make it. And that is called giving the outline of the problem, or you are to write the background of the study. What is the meaning of the background of the study? You fix the title, and after that you started digging out the background of the study. What is the background of the study here? When you take the case of the background of the study, suppose as we mentioned that the title of your project is, the title of your research work is, that is the pre and post stress levels of the students. So there, to defend and to continue that analogy, and we have to write it, write about that, write about a brief description about that aspect. Then you have to find that what is the stress. You have to write it. Then we have to write it. What is the COVID? And write. And after that, we have to write it. That is the difference you observed through theoretical aspects in pre and post era. This is called what we say that pre and post stress levels of your support. With support of your title, we have to develop a background information with the support of the data. That may be the secondary data, or that may be the primary data, but your title is to be justified with the outline or your information. So after that writing, this is the a problem statement. Problem statement means why you are starting this work. What is the reason for going with this idea of what we say that stress pre and post of the students? Why we are making of it? What is the reason for it? Now we are slowly confining to the what is the problem, and to support your idea. Suppose here the another example that I have written. Suppose here in that way, and we have to write the problem statement, justifying the problem statement. What is the justifying the what is the problem? Problem means the things which are not in a proper way. That is called the problem. So what is the problem here to you in your topic? The problem in your topic you identified is that the students which are undergoing a lot of stress compared to the uh, 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 before pre-COVID era. In the era of the post-COVID, students are suffering a lot with stress, depression, and anxiety disorders, and but the same is not the case before COVID. This is the problem, and this problem you are very neatly, very clearly, we are putting in a paragraph, or you are putting in a statement and defining that, and this is the problem. What is the problem? Problem is that's the stress levels of the students. And what we have to do here is, after the fixation of the title, and then we identified we study the background matter of the title, then out of that background of the title, and we find that the problem statement, and what is the problem statement and how to write it. The problem statement is, what is the problem? The problem is the students are not so happy, and they are undergoing with the anxiety disorders or stress disorders. This is the problem, and then we have to develop and mention it. This is what is the problem, and then so to come to that aspect of the problem, and we have to do. We most of the people we have done it. We have to do that review of literature. What is this review of literature? And everybody we talk it is review of literature is the copy and paste of the other people's work. The heart of your study is two areas. One is the success of any research work depends upon the 2-3 parameters. One is the identification of the problem, that is the title. The second one is, that is the what we say, that the way you reviewed the work and mentioning that how your work is going to be the different one. This is called what we say that reviewing of the existing literature. There are the review of literature review. No, in suppose if you take that REVIEW, suppose R plus view means look, review means already you are looking into the existing one, and you are going to create a new one. What is the reviewing? Literature is the information that is existing, and your review means you are going to review. Again, you are going to view into what it was done earlier. This is the case. So for this purpose, and what we do generally while writing the review of literatures, and most of the people what they do know, and suppose an article is read, suppose a research paper is read, or a thesis of somebody those has written is read, and the people a report is read, the people what they do know, review of literature means that simply they copy and they paste the findings of the other people. Simply what they do, they copy and paste of the findings of the other works. It is his observation. But what you are reviewing in that, where reading is different from reviewing. What is the reading? And some XYZ written on ratio analysis or the performance evaluation of XYZ bank. He wrote that performance evaluation and he gave the graph, and for the past 2 years this NPS are getting increased, and its profitability is slowly getting reduced. It is his analysis, and he published it, and you read it. Then what is there? He published, he studied, and he published, and you got that article, and you are going to work on the same area, and you are starting reading it. After reading, generally what we do in reviews, no? Simply we copy and cut and paste, or else, and we write the summary of it. Now, this is the one aspect generally we do. Because the strength of the success of any research is it lies in the research review of the method of reviewing the literature, and the assessment of the existing works of the past and the present, and taking an idea from it and writing in your own words of it, writing in your own words give the strength to any research proposal. Instead of that, because I happen to be in so many evaluation bodies of the projects, and so far I evaluated so many research theses, projects, and so many things. I was made a part of it, and being the reviewer of so many journals, and being the reviewer of editorial board member of 3 or 4 journals, I happen to see the most of the articles which come for the sake of my review, and I happen to see that one common thing is that is the people, and simply the review of literature means, and they took as it is the review from others' work and copy and paste it, and to the greater extent now technology is advanced and they are keeping it in ChatGPT. So this is the one of the biggest what we say that weakness that is in our proposal. The strength of our proposal depends upon the strength of the methodology of the review you utilized, and the way you understand, the way you projected, and connecting your title of the work. This is the case. So here, this is the what we say that there is the review of literature means there is the reader knows, reader does not know. That okay. Suppose this is the case. Example. The example here we take it is the malaria and epidemiology. And this is the what is the above malaria epidemiology is the broad field of the study. And second, this is the so I'll will let us make the example of our own, and apart from this malarias and all these things. Suppose if you take the case of in the commerce, there are the emerging issues are there. That the behavioral finance is emerging. This is the one of the new financial engineering is there. And still people we are hanging what we say that with the same financial performance of the banks, ratio analysis, etc., etc., etc. But when we find the topic, and we should have to have the what we say that broader area first we have to select. What is the methodology of review? How do we review the methodology? And how do we narrow down our review of literature process? Example, let us take the same example of the stress. And let us take the same example of the stress because it can be understood by everybody. That is the reason why I have been taking the example. Suppose if we take the case of the stress levels of the students in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. You are working in this area. When you are working in this area, how do you make the review of literature? And how your review of literature should have to contribute and a strong point for the presentation of your review of research proposal. So, because you are doing the review of, we are going to do work on the stress of pre and post COVID era on students, not on the public. What is our topic? Title of the project? Title of the proposal is that is the pre and post stress levels of the students in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. This is the topic. One is this title consists of stress, and second one is it consists of what we say that that is the student is our target group, and then we are defining the geographical area Andhra Pradesh and what we say that Tamil Nadu. Generally, generally most of my observation, most of the reviews that is written by most of authors or the research scholars or the researchers is that when review of literature on pre and post stress levels of the students, suppose if it is the topic, and they write everything on stress and they review everything. What they do, they review they make the review of literature of everything that comes after stress. Means stress in manufacturing sector, they take it and they dump it in the research proposal. And stress in America, they take it and they dump it here. And the stress in military, they take it and they dump it here. And the stress in Africa for AIDS patients, and they take it and they dump it. How does this support the review which I have done and dumped it to the and copied and pasted it here without making much analysis? How it is more relevant to your problem statement or your topic? How it is going to support it? That most of the cases we forget it, but because we take the only line the stress and regarding the whatever the work that appears on the stress. And simply we drag it and we put it in it. There is nothing wrong in it. But while writing this research, reviewing, and suppose out of 100%, we should have to divide it in the component wise. And 10%, you can write whatever the areas that is mentioned on the stress management. And another 10-15%, and you can take it that is the stress from the students, stress of the students pre and post from other countries of the world. And but rest of the 80% of your review should have to be confined to Indian context, because Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh is a part of India. That too, it is in South India. So the context, contextual review is also plays very important role to connect your topic and in such a way from the broader perspective too, and you should have to slowly. This is the broader perspective. You should have to slowly come down to the narrow level. This is the what we say that the important element of your important aspect of our review of literature. This is the way we have to analyze the reviews, and while analyzing the reviews, and we should have to contact with the different sources. And my dear colleagues, most of we are doing that. No, what we are doing, no, that is the simply, and what are the sources? And simply Google Boss is not only the source. There are so many other sources are also there. And what we have to do is and download the reports if anything is there from authentic body, and download the articles and consult the textbooks and consult the reference books and consult verify, and do this from broad to moderate to narrow down. You have to narrow down it. After reading this, and what happens, no, this is the what we say that the various sources from which we can generate the review of literature, no. Narrow down. I wrote one line here. Narrow down your search terms. What is the narrowing down the search terms? What is our topic, title of the topic? The title of our topic is, that is the pre and post stress levels of the students. And we have to confine to and the stress levels of the students only. We are not going to discuss the stress levels of, we are not going to mention the stress levels of the old age people. We are not going to mention the stress levels of what we say construction workers. We are not going to mention the stress levels of IT people. And this is what we said, we are narrowing down our reviews, and we are going to confine to what it is, what it is. So this is the various sources. That's the peer-reviewed articles, scopus, and all these things. You are very much aware of it. And so after that, we have to write and clearly define the purpose of our study. What is the purpose of my study? The purpose of my study is why you are doing this work. What is the purpose of the study? And the purpose of study, we have to define it. And how do you define the purpose of the study? and you define the purpose of the study when you know the research gap. What is the research gap? What we say that the research gap? Simply research gap means that what we wrote in the previous studies and we do not find this kind of the study, that is the reason why I am writing at XYZ. No? If you search 100 papers and you read the 100 papers and in the research gap and the people simply copy and paste and write the same lines and say that the reviews of the international studies and the reviews of the national studies and they work on the various areas, and so there is I find that there is a big gap and that is the reason why I am doing this research. But while from the moment you confine to the topic, the moment you confine to the title, from the title to till the end of the last line of the conclusion, the thread, it should not be missed. Then, after extensive reading and analysis, it comes to your notice that whether my idea is fitting in the context or not. Yeah, my idea, you have to check it, my idea is fitting it or not. If your idea is, you assume that yes, your idea may fit for it, your idea may work for it. So how do you say that I can carry forward this work? And you can say that in my previous studies there are so many limitations, but in South India is a specific zone, and there is no such kind of the studies are prevalent. So this study is going to be helpful. This study is going to be helpful to reduce the stress levels of the students and to make them active. When we make them active, students, by reducing the stress levels, their academic performance can be increased. When their academic performance can be increased, and they will excel in the career and the life. This is my purpose. Why I am going to make my study. Yeah. For this purpose, and we have to work a lot, we have to think a lot. And after that, what we do, and there is the aim of the research and objectives of the research. Is there any difference between aims and the objectives? The aim, is there any difference between the aim and the objectives of the study? The objectives are very continuously, it is a very specific statement and very focused one. The aim is why you are doing. You are going, I'll give the same example. What is the aim of your study? My aim of the study is just to study the level of all this student community, and in general it is going to helpful to the students. This is my aim. In specific, I want to study the pre and post level of the stress levels of my students in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu only. And what do you want to study? And I want to know that what is the status of stress level pre-COVID. Again, another, I want to study, and there is the why, what are the reasons for the increase of the stress levels in the post-COVID era. Okay, then, and is there any relation between, I want to know, is there any relation between what we say that academic performance and stress levels of the students? Is there any relationship between absenteeism of student and all these things? And these are the specific focused objectives and that we write. Whereas in the case of the aim, it is a general aspect and it is a broader aspect, and which we discussed in the aim. Where we come into the objectives and we make it what we say that is a specific mentioning of these things. Then we develop the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis means? That is we are assuming Your assumptions, your assumption is hypothesis. This may be happened, may not be happened. This may be right, this may not be right. It may correct or it may not be correct. But you are assuming that there is the relationship between stress level and absenteeism. There is the relationship between and academic performance and stress levels. There is the relationship between pandemic and stress levels among the students. This is you are assuming, but you do not know so far. But you are assuming that there is the connection relationship between these two. So that assumption is called hypothesis. Your assumption may be right or your assumption may not be true. So you developed a hypothesis. This hypothesis are to be supported with your research questions. This hypothesis is to be in tune with your, what we say that, in tune with the objectives of your study, and it should be it should be interconnected. So to know that, and now you defined your objectives, and you know that, and you what that you assume that there is the connectivity. Then how do you say that there is the connectivity? And then I want to develop a methodology. I want to develop a methodology. What is the difference between the methods and methodology? Is there any difference between a methods and a methodology? Okay, that's a different line. So when we come to the case of the methodology, and yes, after that hypothesis and assumption, and you want to prove it. The methodology is nothing but the way you want to work, the methods you want to follow, and the method you want to probe into the problem and bring out the results or the findings. So here, for this purpose, what we do, simply we design the research, what we say that we design the research methods, that is the sample design. And what is the sample design means the area which you are going to cover, and then how you are to take the group of the people, and how you are going to make what we say the interact of the people, and all these things are called your research design or the research design. In that research design, it is covered that it should be carefully done, and that is the what kind of the research you are going to do. Is it what kind of the research you are going to do? And second means, and what kind of the method you are going to adopt. And third one is, and how you are going to get the information. And all these things are defined in your one area that is called the research design. There you write that the area of the specification, that is in which area you want to work. And second one is how do you collect the data you are going to mention in it, and what are the methods you are going to use for the collection of the data, and that you are to mention it, and what are the everything you have to justify it, writing and justify why you are doing like that. And after that, you are going to make the sample size, and how you are going to make the sample size. There are the various methods of the determining of the sample size. And after that, and you are going to make the tentative aspects of what we say that tentative aspects of the statistical tools, etc. you are going to use. So far, what we have discussed is that is quite normally we do in the research. But in the research projects, no. In the research projects, while writing the research proposals, the timeline of project is very important. If you see the ICSR website and they ask that they give the timeline. What is the timeline means? That is the, and what the time do you require to finish this work? Unlike in PhDs, we could not do years together, no? And sometimes we register for PhD, we forget, after 10 years we remember it. Some people will do lifelong PhD. and some people will do and finish it within the 3 years. So there is the variations of the times, but when you case the fund to generate the fund and to get the fund, and you should have to fix the timeline, and within the timeline, and you should have to complete it. This is the very important aspect of, this is the crucial aspect of while writing a research proposal for funding of academic purposes. So, do you require the 6 months, or do you require the 12 months, and do you require the, what we say that the 18 months or the 24 months or the 3 years? The timeline, you have to specifically mention it, and along with what we say that you have to specifically mention every quarterly what you have to do, and you have to make the clear plan of action with the time. This is what we say that this is the very important aspect of while writing the research proposal. So when they come to the case of the budget, when we write the case of the budget or the fundings, and you should have to, not the funding, here you should have to prepare your budget statement. How much funding do you require? The format differs from agency to agency. The format differs to from agency to agency. Last a few months back, I submitted for funding, and under the heading of the corporate social responsibility. There is the higher education financing agency is there, and under the corporate social responsibility funding, and they invited the research proposals, and I wrote a research proposal for 1 crore because I plan to work in slum areas here in Hyderabad, in surrounding slum areas. I plan to work some slum areas and establish mechanism for the people, those who are using the substances. Substances means ganza, smoking, etc., habits, and that community mental health setups. I plan to establish in Hyderabad city of the most of the slum areas are the dwelling areas. So, while writing this purpose, this budget is your budget requirement is different. Why? Because we have to establish and train the local people and hand over the mechanism to the people for the sake of its sustainability and sustenance. But when we come to the case of a general academic, what we say that academic projects like ICSR, UGC, they do have what we say a common format. Of course, it goes on changing from one time to another time. So here, you should have to prepare the clear budget, and this also plays very important role. And how many research staffs do you require? How much travel grant you require? And what equipment you require? How much money do you require for stationery? And all these things are to be specifically mentioned while writing the budget proposal. A budget for the sake of unit. The second, another important aspect, if any research proposal which is different from writing the PhD thesis, what we find is the outcomes. So, an organization, suppose that is given to me 1 crore. Our university got one project of the 99 crores project. Our university in one area they got it. UNICEF projects are going on, UNESCO projects are going on, and that is being monitored by the certain departments of the university. And one of the science departments got the almost 100 crore budget of the project for 5 years and to develop the hearing aids or something else. And so far, I have written the proposals for almost 1.3 crores of proposals. It is in the pipeline, and so while making that. The outcome means generally what we write in vague manner, we write in the thesis as the outcome. And nobody reads it. Even you do not read after the awarding of your PhD, no? And you cut it, paste it, and publish 2 or 3 articles according to the needs. and suppose if it is needed for your cash, and you cut it again, paste it another 2 articles, and you will forget also. But when we come to the case of government funding projects, the story is different. The story is different. But when we come to the case of, as I mentioned, that NGOs project or NGO funded projects or foundation funding projects, the outcome of your work should be very clear. For that purpose, what we have to do while writing the research proposal, the most important aspect is the area in which you want to work, the domain you want to work. First, you go practically and experience the problem, identify the gap through your experience. Then you come back on your desk and sit it and examine and correlate your theory with the existing system, or else you develop the new aspect. Then you can assume or identify through a hypothetical example of exact outcomes of your research. So this is for every researcher, those who are intended to writing the proposal, those who are ready to write the research proposal, he should assume the likely outcomes that would come out of his work. That is a very important aspect of this. And you are to, after completion of after the completion of this your research proposal, and there are so many columns you find in, especially in UGC and ICSR, how it is relevant to the society, how it is relevant to the policy making body, and how it is relevant to create new knowledge, and how it is how it is going to give a path breaking and innovative data to the existing one. And these are all the certain questions that is generally generated, that is generally mentioned in their respective invitation forms. So we should be in a position to answer not dramatically, but we are to write all these things. Suppose they ask this is for the policy making, and really how it is going to contribute to the policy making. So you are to write these lines of the statements also in support of certain data. Data means not in the numericals, and in the earlier works. How it is relevant to the society. We should not write the story in the research here. Don't forget that in the we are teaching in the classrooms and the research proposals, you could not write the stories as you wish vaguely. And every line which you are writing in your research proposal, mentioning in a research proposal, it should be supported with proper facts, or it should be supported with proper document, or it should be supported with proper evidence. Otherwise, it is not called research at all. It should be supported with it. So I ask that this is the relevance to the policy making. Yeah, how it is contributing to the policy making. Do you have any information that any such kind of studies were helpful to the policy making? Yes, you mentioned it. And how it is relevant to the society. And do you know that these kinds of the studies earlier are not other kinds of the studies which were produced by the various agencies, various bodies were relevant to the society? Quote it and support with your statement, and take the support to your statement from those studies, and how it is going to create a new path and the new data, and how it is going to be helpful. So we are to mention that all these things in a meticulous and careful and systematic and fact-finding and evidential manner. Then only the reviewer or the reviewing body or the reviewing committee, and when they feel that it is worthwhile, the researcher is in a systematic and having the capability to understand and assess the study is going to really prove the useful to us to establish certain things, then they are ready to award funding for the sake of you. So, in brief, there are certain problems, and here I am because it is already late and I should not disturb the next resource person. This is what we mentioned, that a brief aspect of thank you very much.
I would like to request the participants to clarify your doubts and queries on the topic. Any questions, please, from the participants?
Okay.
Session, sir. Thank you, sir, for detailed informative presentation on research methodology, what is the research proposal, and importance of research proposal. That set a perfect platform for the webinar. We are grateful to you for your outstanding presentation and impressive talk on the essential ingredients to write a research proposal and important aspects of review of literature. Your expertise and perspectives greatly enriched our discussion. Thank you for your thought-provoking presentation, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
It was really an enriching session, sir. Your words have not only expanded our knowledge, but also inspired us to explore new perspectives. Thank you once again, sir, for making today's first session very effective and successful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving this opportunity and some time to interact with you all people. Thank you, sir. Sudha sir also. Thank you.
Sudhakar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dear participants, thank you for your kind cooperation. Then we will proceed to the next session on publication ethics. I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Webinar-cum-Faculty, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, Bangalore University, Gnana Bharati, Karnataka. I am very much delighted. Sir?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome to you, sir.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Sorry. Yes, sir. But you are not visible, sir. Welcome you, sir. I am very much delighted to introduce Dr. Webinar-cum-Faculty is a highly accomplished and dedicated assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics, Bangalore University, Bangalore, Karnataka. He holds a PhD in mathematics from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He has authored 2 books and published more than 150 research articles in various reputed national and international journals. Scope has the UGC approval publications in prestigious platforms like Elsewhere and Springer, and serves as a reviewer for reputable national and international journals. Dr. Webinar-cum-Faculty has participated in more than 100 technical sessions, workshops, seminars, conferences conducted by various professional bodies, and as a resource person. He has efficiently organized seminars, webinars, and conferences and delivered invited talks organized by various institutions and universities across India. Under his guidance, 6 PhDs were awarded. He carried out a couple of research projects sanctioned by UGC and DST New Delhi. Dr. Webinar-cum-Faculty has received several prestigious awards, including the Best Paper Presentation Award in the International Conference on Applied Mathematics and Computational Sciences in the year 2022, DIT University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. To his credit, named in the world's top 2% scientist list honored by Stanford University in collaboration with Elsewhere in the year 2023. Hearty congratulations, sir, on behalf of the JMJ College for Women, Tenali. Sir, we are extremely happy with your presence. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. I'm sure we will be enriched by your talk.
Hello, am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Once
So,
again, I
thank.
invite Dr. Kumbi Narsaya to address our esteemed participants. Dear participants, please note, there will be an interactive session. You can interact with our esteemed speaker and clarify your doubts after the session. Thank you, and I wish you all the best. Sir, please continue the session.
Okay, madam. Is it our shared things is scrollable, madam?
Yes, yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So, good evening to all. So, this is Kumnarsa from Bangalore University, so from Department of Mathematics, Karnataka. Today, I am going to give a talk about the publication ethics. The name itself says the publication ethics. What are the ethics we should carry to publish our research work? So that means we know the research is nothing but creating a new knowledge. The claim that new knowledge has been created remains only a claim until it is independently verified and accepted. Such verification by other experts requires that the research output should be disseminated along with the proper, procedure followed in the forum accessible by the experts. So this is what that means. This is called as we say the publication research output. To publish such a research work, what are the ethics we should carry? What are the ethics we should keep to publish our research work? That's what today we are going to discuss about the publication ethics. So before going to state this publication ethics, let's have a look on what do you mean by ethics. So is it visible my abstract?
Yes, sir, it's visible and audible.
Okay, abstract. Now I'm in the slide of abstract, right?
Yes, sir, yes, abstract.
So the purpose here, we are going to discuss about that good publication practices to ensure the credibility and objectivity of scientific research and publication. So that means publication ethics refers to moral principles and standards governing the conduct of authors, reviewers, and editors in the academic publication process. So, but in this field, we are going to gain some of the knowledge regarding the research outputs, how we need to publish in the reputed journal with maintaining the transparency and integrity accountable to in scholar communications. Here we are going to discussing about that plagiarism and some other topics on the research publication, plagiarism, authorship dispute, and data fabrication and conflict of interest. And regarding some concept we are going to discuss. And also here, what are those particular concepts we are going to enlighten? First of all, introduction on publication ethics, and next plagiarism and conflict of interest and scientific conduct, and some information about the predatory journals. That means how to find the predatory journals to avoid to publish our research work in the predatory journals, and some of the postulates for maintaining the ethical standards in higher education. So, if before going to publication ethics, let's move to what do you mean by ethic? If we heard the name, the ethic, immediately we in our mind it will appear as distinguish between the what is the right and what is the wrong. This is the ethics, so, right? Such as a golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So, therefore, and another way of defining your ethics means in particular stream areas. So it is a conduct of distinguish between the what is the acceptable and unacceptable behavior. So as we know, the ethics means the many people learn the ethics from his school, or from the home and some of the religious places in other social settings. So, right, and this is in general. But here we are going to speak about the publication ethics. That means particular stream areas. So stream areas means in the particular stream areas, the ethics can be focuses on the discipline that study standards, the conduct, and such as the philosophy, theology, law, psychology, or sociology. For example, if I want to say example, if you consider a medical ethicist, who is a medical ethicist? So it is someone who studies the ethical standards in medicine. So those person called as a medical ethicist. If the one way, if we ask what are the ethics for the such a personality, he will define the ethics as in his own way. So that means he defines ethics as a method, as a procedure, or a perspective of for deciding how to act and for analyzing complex problems and issues. So, for example, consider one complex issue like as global warming. The global warming, if you given the global warming concept for a different analyst, they think their own way. For example, what is the economist? If I give those global warming concept to economist, he might be examine the cost and benefit of the various policies related to global warming. The same issue, if I have given to someone like an environmental ethicist, could he examine the ethical value and principles of stick? Similarly, if you given for the different fellows, their vision is quite different under their own stream areas. So, such an ethic, now we are going to study how to publish our research work. So, let's move to what do you mean by this publication ethics. The publication ethics are rules of conduct the following. So publication ethics are rules for conduct to be followed while publishing the research of scientific research, results of scientific research or another scholarly work. Generally, it is a standard that protects intellectual property and forbids the republication of another works without proper credit. So in the entire these concepts, we are going to study this. What are the ethics we should follow to publish our research work? So now move to the what is the importance to maintain this publication ethics to publish our research work? They are as follows. So some of the importance. The first importance is the publication ethics promotes the aims of the research, such as knowledge, truth, and avoidance of error. For example, the prohibition against the fabrication, falsification, or misinterpretation. So that means we are aware of the fabrication and falsification. So that means it is the first importance of publication ethics. If the fabrication means the making of data or results or reporting them as true. So for example, if I want to say stating that a lab process was done. If suppose some work has been done, this work has been done using the lab, some of the lab. But when it was not, if without lab, he is insisting, he is saying that, so whatever the data we have conducted in the lab, without having the lab facilities. This is called as a fabrication. So fabrication without the justification, we are going to publishing our research work. This should not be done. This will be violated by the publication ethics. And one more thing, the falsification. The falsification means if suppose there is some desired data is available, I am going to do research to match whatever the desired data. So that means manipulating the research materials and the equipments or process. Omitting some of the data or results. We are matching the data with desired data. So this is nothing but a falsification. That means we are false data we are publishing. So this is also not comes under the publication ethics. That means these should be avoided. And second one, it promotes the values that are essential to collaborative work, such as trust, accountability, mutual respect, and fairness. So if I want to say this second point, for example, that means collaborative. If suppose I am the one of the research worker, if I want to collaborate with some other fellow, those who are working in some of the institutions, that means the many ethical norms in the research, such as guidelines for the authorship, copyright, and patenting the policies, data sharing policies, and confidentiality rules in the peer reviews are designed to protect intellectual property. So actually, if I want to say intellectual property interests. So while encouraging the collaboration, we should keep all this in our mind. So that means I should respect my collaborative worker, and similarly, he should also respect. And we collaborate with some of the abide by the rules, we should obey those rules. So that's what the second point says under the publication ethics. So while publishing our research work. And third one, the ethical norms. The ethical norms also helps to ensure that researchers can be held accountable to the public. For instance, the federal policies on the research misconduct, conflicts of interest, and human subjects protection, and animal care, and other necessary points for the researchers who are funded by the public money can be held accountable to the public, because whatever the public, if we are conducting the research, means obviously we need some of the funds. Those funds are raised from the public, right? So we should be accountable for that. And the fourth one, it also helps to build the public support for research. The people are more likely to fund a research project if they can trust the quality and integrity of the research. For example, for the fourth one, if some disease arises in the society, if suppose some of them research work is conducting to find some of the drug regarding the diseases. If suppose the drug is found, and through that, if the society health is enhanced, then obviously the people support directly or indirectly by funding those research projects. So right, that means for that one, we should maintain the integrity in the research. So this is also importance of your publication ethics. And many of the publication ethics promotes a variety of other important morals and the social values, such as social responsibility, human rights, animal welfare, compliance with the law, and public health and safety. So ethical lapses in research can significantly harm the human and animal subjects, etc. That means, for example, if I want to say for the fifth point, a researcher who fabricates the data in a clinical trial may harm, even kill the patients. For example, if I'm doing the data, I'm fabricating the data. Already I have told what do you mean by the fabricated. Fabricated means if suppose for the 5-year child, if suppose suffering from the fever, the doctor suggests paracetamol tonic. If the paracetamol, the 5 ml for the 5-year boy or girl restricted. If suppose data is fabricated means misleading the data. So that means if suppose 10 ml I have given to that baby, it is overdosed. It may harm to that baby. So that's why this should not be happening in the research work. That's what the fifth point says. And if I want to say one more example, some of the if the researcher who fails to be abide by the regulations and the guidelines relating to radiations, if suppose he is working in the radiation field, then he should be get some of the safety measurements, or else it will harm to his health, right? And it is unsafe for the staff and those who are working in the lab. So therefore, these are the importance of the publication ethics. After that, to publish our research work in the ethical way, the sum of the roles and responsibilities must be obeyed by the authors. Similarly, publishers and journals also. So let's move first. What are the role and responsibility of the authors to maintain the publication ethics. The first one says the author should double check their research paper in detail for accuracy in calculation, data presentation methods, analysis and results. So why I'm saying this means, if suppose the research work publishing under the author under the my authorship, that means whole and soul I'm the responsible for the research article. So that means after publishing, after if suppose article is published, then I can't do any, alter the respective article. So that's why before sending the journal, we should, as an author, should double check. Not you thrice you check whether mentioned research work is in the represented in the correct way. Whatever the data represent is in correct way, then confirm and then submit. It is the first responsibility of the author. And second one, the author must ensure that their research was carried out ethically and has adhered to relevant regulations. If I am working in the some of the institution, thus any institution abide by the some rules. That means the institution abide by the some rules, it is directly applicable to me also. That means the regulations, I am abide by the regulations of the institution. Within that framework, I should work, I should present my research work. And the third one, the author must follow the regulation of academic journals in the peer review, editing and publications. If, for example, I am communicating the one of the research article to journal, let's name as a A. If I am communicating that research article to the journal A means, inevitably, whatever the rules are there for the journal A, it is directly applicable to me. That means our research articles. So that means by accepting regulations of the journals, I am going to submit it. So that is one more responsibility of the author. And the fourth one, the author must submit manuscripts that are original and must not be submitted some same paper to more than one academic journal. If you see in nowadays, many researchers are want to publish articles fastly. So that means if you communicate any research work to reputed journal, minimum it will take more than a year. Within that, no journal will accept. So minimum 1 year we have to wait. That is 9 months to 1 year. So sometimes it may takes more than a year. So that is left to author and the journals. So that means why I'm saying this means we at the same one work is prepared means at the time I has only right to submit respect to only one journal, not more than once. If you submit more than once one journal, if the same time both have been accepted means they have published means the one in future the one journal will be identified to the same work where you have published in the other journal. They will make a seal on the paper that retraction. Once a retraction journal is out came, then your academical credential will fall down. Remember. So that's why this is an offense. As a researcher, it is an offense. Just submit, if you prepare the research work, submit any one respected journal at a time. If it is rejected, then you can move to another journal. Okay. And the next one, the author should submit the data, regulations, procedures, softwares, lab notes, or other information promptly when requested by the editor. When you move to the submit your research work to the some respected journal, after submitting your manuscript, they will and the next column, some of the journal will ask any related data, upload any related data. So that means if the editor suggests, if register editor request, you should be able to know I will not submit this data, because why they are asking means they will ask for whether your data provided in the respective research work is genuine or not. To maintain the transparency, they will ask. In that time, that is the author responsibility to provide the respective data, what they require. And next, The research process and method of analysis suggested by the author in the manuscript must be clear so that the other researchers can repeat and produce the same result. So that means whatever the data method or whatever the survey we are producing in our research work, it should be clearly mentioned clearly. So because it will help to some others to understand, and they will cite your research work for their research articles. Then your citation will be increased. So mention in the proper way and in clearly. And researchers must record the procedure and the results faithfully and systematically store the evidence. And that means already I have told in the previous point. So that means whatever the data we have done, so please store in once. If suppose under the review process they may ask, or in the editorial process they may ask. So when they ask, we must be presented to before them. And next, if there are any limitations present in the research, the researchers must indicate them. That means before conduct the research work, we may be assume some assumptions. For example, if I want to survey the diabetes patients, I am not able to survey the every age group. So I will restrict, let it be 30 to 50. So this is my assumption. So whatever the assumptions I have made it, so I clearly should mention in the respective research work before submission of our research articles. And next, the researchers must disclose all financial and non-financial conflicts of interest so that the journal editor, reviewers, and the readers are fully aware of such conflicts. So at this point in detail, we are going to discuss in under the title of conflict of interest. But this concept here, it says if whatever the funding agencies are, if you are collaborated with some of the institution, with those offer some of the facilities to you, then we should be clearly mentioned in that article. The next one, the author must ensure that the manuscript submitted is original and creative and has never been published in any other language or through the different medium. So that means as an author, I must confirm that before submitting the article, it has not been published in previously. So if it is previously published, means this is going to be plagiarism. So you will be punished in some of the different way. So that means we should avoid. If the journal editor wishes to publish the manuscript previously published in another journal, he or she should obtain the permission from the copyright holder. For example, any one article I have published in some of the reputed journal. Some of them you might get some of the emails. Your articles published in this journal, we are going to publish in our publisher as a book chapter. Please give permission. If suppose they ask, first you need to check where your paper published, and you need to seek copyright form from them. So without seeking permission, you should not be able to provide your article to the another publisher. It is a copyright problem. So that's why we must be aware of copyright. If it is copyright kept with you, then you can give consent to them. So without copyright, if you are given a copyright to journal, then you should take a permission, and then you can share if suppose they consent, with presence of their consent. And last one, the author should limit it to those who have made significant contribution to the conception, design, executions, interpretations of the reported study. All those who have made substantial contribution should be listed as a co-author. So that means if for example, any work is regarding the lab oriented, then obviously many authors has to work for the lab component research work. In that case, those who have contributed, they should be cited. There should be give authorship to them. So these are all the role and responsibility of the as an author. Now move to the role and responsible of publishers. What are the roles and responsibility for the publishers have to maintain publication ethics? So here they are. The publisher should, the first one, the publisher should require authors to confirm that they and their co-authors all meet the journal criteria for authorship, and that nobody who meets these criteria has been omitted from the list. So that means first, if anyone communicated any research work to the any journal, except communicating corresponding author, remaining co-authors will get a one email. That is confirmation of your articles. Confirmation of your authorship. So if they confirm, then the respective article will move to the further process. For the review process for the editor. So unless acceptance from the all co-authors, the publishers will never send for the review. Remember. So this is the publisher's duty. And the next one, the publisher should consider the requesting that the authors provide a short description of each author's contribution in an acknowledgement. If you see some of the articles, in the last page, those small introduction about the authors, they will mention, many of the journals they will mention. Why means, these are the authors, so these are the authors who has been significant contributed to make this article. So for that one, this is also maintained by the publishers to maintain the publication ethics. And third one, the publisher should ask the corresponding authors to confirm they have received written authorization from all co-authors for publication of the articles. And one more thing, some of the journal ask authorship form, the signed copy of authorship form. After submitting, only the publisher is going to be process the respective research work. And fourth one, the publisher should check the plagiarism and inform the authors. This is the main thing. The publishers should, before sending the review process, they will check initially. If suppose many of the journal maintain the 20%, if the 20% similarity is less than 20%, then they send for the review process. If it is more than, they will send it back to the author. So, like yes, your articles, whatever the manuscript has been plagiarized, that means similarity is more than 20%, are reduced and resubmit. In that way, they will suggest the authors, or sometimes some of the journals directly reject. So, this has to be done by the publishers, so to maintain the publication ethics. And last one, the journal publisher must not attempt to influence the journal ranking by artificially increasing the any journal metric. That means if you see some of the journals may having a high impact factor, or they will campaign like our journal is indexed in Google Scholar and SGR ranking, etc. So this should not be done by the publisher, and they should not be attempt to influence the journal. So automatically, whatever the rankings of the journal, it will based on the which sort of the articles are going to be published in the respective journals and how many citations they got. With respect to that, definitely they apply the concerned authority. They will allow for the general metric. That journal publisher themselves should not influence to enhance their metric. And these are all the roles and responsibility of the publishers. Similarly, the editors plays a vital role to maintain the publication ethics. Without the editors, it is too tough to maintain the publication ethics. Here are some of the points. The editors shall ensure that the peer review process fair and unbiased and timely. So because whatever the article we submit to the journal directly move to the editors, right? So if editor should be unbiased. If suppose if some of the editors having some clashes with me then whatever the article I communicated the respective journal, he will hold my article without sending the review process for a long time. This should not be done. So irrespective of any personality or gender for any institutions, they should do their own process with time to time, with fairly and unbiased. Should be unbiased. And the research article must be typically be reviewed by at least 2 external and independent reviewers. And where the necessary, the editor should seek additional opinion. Obviously, if I communicate any article, that article must be reviewed by at least 2 authors. The many standard journals send for the more than 4 to 5 reviewers, but minimum they should send to 2 reviewers to get a review about our research articles. If editors seeks additional opinion, they can take. And next one, the editor shall select the reviewers who have suitable expertise in the relevant field. So that's why I have told in the beginning, the editor plays a vital role. That means if I am working in the field A, editor must be seek a reviewer from the field of A itself, not B. It is irrelevant to that respective reviewer. So that's why the editor should select reviewers in the suitable expertise area, and then he has to send to them. And the editor should evaluate the manuscript for their intellectual content without regard to race, gender, sexual orientation, and religious belief, ethnic origin and citizenship, and political philosophy of the authors. That means he should not consider all these things, whatever I told right now. So unbiasedly, he should process the review process. And editor should ensure confidential handling of manuscript with no details being disclosed to anyone except the peer reviewers and without permission of the author. So that means editor must maintain the confidentiality about the author, so for regarding the publishing the research work. And next one, the editor should ensure that all those who carry out the peer review on behalf of the journal understand and adhere to the need of confidentiality relating to the peer review process. And whatever the peer review process, it should not be disclosed to any author. Similarly, that means we may have the name double blinding. So those who are reviewing, he is not aware of authors, and similarly the author is not aware of those who are reviewing the respective articles. This sort of the confidentiality should be maintained by the editors. And another, some of the editor roles and responsibility, editor should ask the peer reviewers to disclose any conflict of interest when they respond to invitation to review, and also when they submit their review. So that means if suppose I communicated an article, editor should ask some of the reviewers. If suppose that reviewer know me, immediately he is going to accept paper. That must be disclosed. The editor should ask the peer reviewer disclose the conflict of interest. That means for the reviewer, I should not be related to in the any way. So that's what the conflict of interest should be asked from the peer reviewers. Similarly, from the author also. So because some of the journals ask while submitting your article, mention some of the reviewers and some of non-reviewer also. In that case, I should not give the reviewer list those who are known by me. I should give different personality, different reviewers, those who are experts in the respective field areas. That's what the conflict of interest says. And authors should only ask the authors to add citations to their papers when there is a strong scholarly rationale for this. Some of you might have received a review. If you submitted some of the articles, have undergone review process, after some days, you will receive a review of your article. In review of your article, some of the reviewer may mention, cite the following articles. The following articles means he is going to give his own articles. So that means the editor should observe those things, and he should suggest the author whether those articles given by the reviewer is relevant to your field, then only cite, or else neglect it. He should strongly strongly advise to your authors. And respect the confidentiality of peer review, and not discuss the manuscript, contact the authors or any other people about the manuscript. Whatever the review process is going to done, that should be confidentiality maintained by the editors. And provide an objective and constructive explanation for their recommendation. And similarly, avoid the requesting that the author cites for peer reviewer papers and unless there is a strong scholarly rationale for this, once again it is repeated. And the editor should not reproduce information or any part of the manuscript under review in any of their work before publication by the author. What this point says, if anyone communicated the article, if it is moved to the review process, in that time, the editor should not be copy any of the data from the reviewing articles. So that means it is nothing but a violation. I mean, a plagiarism, violating the publication ethics. So after publication, he can cite, giving us credit for the respective article. He can copy, nothing to worry. But before that, he should not do. And only agree of peer review manuscript within their expertise and within a reasonable time frame. So that means within the framework of time, they should complete the entire process of the article, the publishing the article. And the editor should not delay the publishing articles, and they should not use insulting, hostile, or defamatory language. That means, for example, some of the editor, they write, your work is not good, better to stop your research work. These type of the words should not use. This is going to discourage the author. So instead of impolitely, you should suggest some of the suggestions to enhance their research work, or else he can directly reject if it is not up to the mark of the journal. So these are all roles of the editors and authors and journals. And some more thing, to violate the publication ethics, some of the extra authorship concept is there. What is authorship? That means undesirable authorship. In this authorship, there is a three different sort of authorship. The one is guest authorship and honorary or gift authorship. Last one is ghost authorship. So these authorship violates the publication ethics. How it violates the publication ethics? So let's move to the first one, the guest authorship. This it is defined as a authorship based exclusively on the expectation on part of the other authors that inclusion of particular name as a co-author may improve the chances of the work getting accepted for the publication or for other personal gains. So it is strictly unethical to include such an author as a guest. So that means if suppose someone, for some journal, if someone know the editor, if I put his name, immediately it will move to the respective editor and the more chances of acceptance of our article. So this type of authorship, if we have given, that authorship called as a guest authorship, even though he has not contributed anything to the research work, even though he got the authorship. So it is violates our publication ethics. We should not do that and we should not encourage this. And next, honorary or gift authorship. The name itself says honorary or gift. So I will gift my authorship, your authorship to in my article, and you also gift your author in your article my name. So this is a gift. So I will also gift, he will also gift. So this is also one of the authorship. We should not encourage this gift authorship also. That means it is defined as an authorship based solely on feedable affiliation with a study. Example, the head of the department. That means if suppose I am expecting something from the head of the department, I am going to put it his name in my article. So this should not be happen. And similarly, if those two colleagues, so they will share their articles by putting the each other author name. So that means this is nothing but a swelling their own number of articles. So that's all. This should not be. This is going to be violate your publication ethics. And the next one is a ghost authorship. The ghost authorship. Ghost is invisible, right? So similarly, the author is going to be invisible. That's what the ghost authorship says. That means if while preparing some of the research article, we will get many contribution from some of the author. But while communicating, while getting applying the patent, we will leave his. We won't add his name as a co-authorship. So this is false. This type of authorship is nothing but a ghost authorship. So we are neglecting his, even though his contribution is more on our research work. This should not happen. At least in the acknowledgement also, we should mention his name. So this is the right way to avoid publication ethics. So these are all about the publication ethics. And one more thing, we are going to discuss that to maintain the publication ethics in publication, that is a plagiarism. It is nowadays, it is a serious offense. The how offense means in the next, after some of the concepts, you will identify some of the predatory journal in that slide I will explain. So before that, let's move to the plagiarism. The plagiarism is simply the act of presenting the someone's work as your own work. And it has become a very common malpractice in the domain of the journal publications, especially in the scientific publications. The authors submitting their work to journal are typically required to sign a declaration stating that their work is original and not been published previously and submitted elsewhere. If you are communicating any article to the journal, definitely they will ask, is it submitted in any journal, or is it a new research work? Then we should give a consent. Then only it will move in the next stages, or else it won't be. So that's why we should avoid the plagiarism. What do you mean by plagiarism? The graph says that means we are stealing someone's ideas. We are stealing someone articles, some of the part of the articles. So that's what the plagiarism. I mean similarity, carrying as it is without giving a credits to him. So that means in general, the definition we can see that the plagiarism as the use of someone else's work without proper attribution. This includes the use of verbatim text without quotation marks or citations, the paraphrasing of text without proper citation, and reuse of one's work, previously published work without proper attribution. These are all comes under the plagiarism. We should avoid these plagiarism, but in avoiding these plagiarism, the journals, what they should do. Journals, it will be a plagiarism only, controlled by the journals, because whatever the articles, whether it's a plagiarized or not plagiarized, it must be published through the some of the journals. So here, while identifying the plagiarism, journals can plays a vital role. So what are the journals going to do that to avoid the plagiarism? The first one, the originality and authorship. As previously I have told that the journals requires that all submissions are original works have not been previously published or submitted to another journal. So immediately when we move to the submit to the journal, they will ask this, whether it is original or they should ask whether they are original or not previously published in elsewhere. So in that way. And additionally, all authors listed as a manuscript should be contributed to the research, and they should ask whether whatever the authorship you have mentioned, are there contributed at least something to your research articles. They should ask. So that's why they will send, after communicating their articles, they will send to the concerned co-authors to take a concern of their authorship. And this should be done by the journals. Some of the journals are doing, many of the journals not doing this process. And citations and attributions. And journals also test that whatever the data mentioned in the research article, whether they are properly cited or not. If it is not cited, it is comes under the plagiarism. If it is cited, okay, yes, he has given some credits where he has borrowed from the data. So then it is acceptable. If it is not cited or attribution, then it is a violation. And next, the review process. The journals should do the review process rigorously. If why many of the journals taking the more than a year? Because of they are doing the rigorous review process. You see, many plagiarism softwares are available. For example, Authenticate and Turnitin software. These are the paid software, but they identify plagiarism well. And other plagiarism software is Grammarly, Quillbalt, many other. They are free software, but their efficiency is very less. So if you want to check any your article, just go through these two paid softwares. And you remember, these softwares identify similar words. That's all, not an idea. So it is not a human being, it is a software. They identify only similarities. If suppose consecutively 3 words are continuing, then it will show it is a plagiarism from some of the articles. So this is what only done by these softwares. But why I am saying the rigorous review process means the ideas can be identified by the reviewers. Reviewer know the concept. Reviewer may study the many literature and he know where these concepts are arised. If he identified, he can easily say that it is a plagiarized, and he may reject the respective articles. So that's why I'm saying don't stick on the only softwares, and also if the rigorous review process is happening, then obviously we can control the plagiarism. And what are the consequences of the plagiarism? If the plagiarism is detected, the journals may impose authors. Sometimes journals going to be banned some of the authors for some couple of years, and it will give the intimation to the respective institutions that he is the author, he is doing some of the plagiarism work like that, etc. And this is going to be a bad image for the respective authors. So that's why, so to avoid these things, as an author should aware of plagiarism. We should not copy any work without giving a credit. And next, how does plagiarism harm? So as now just I told, harm means it is a bad effect to the authors. That means we can't expect, if the plagiarism continues in that way, we can't expect the new ideas. Simply someone ideas I am copying, I am put it in a different way and publishing the research work. What is a new thing there? So to get it is highly impossible to get a new things for our developing society. So that's why it will badly harm our research community. It is going to suppress actually working people attitude. And now next, how to detect. Already I have told how to detect means one rigorous process must be done. So through rigorous process, the reviewer can identify the ideas, plagiarism, and the softwares can identify where the similar words are copied. So these in this way we can identify, the two way we can identify the plagiarism happen. And one more thing you need to remember, you should avoid the self plagiarism, because you see the knowledge says the research means it is a new knowledge. Research, by doing the research I am contributing the new knowledge to the society. If the self plagiarism means, if I am the researcher, I am citing I am taking some of part of the research work from previously published my own work. So what is a new thing there? So that means that self citation should not be happen. So once it is published means yes, it is published. And once again taking the data, doing the manipulating and publishing the more research work, what is the useful that? If it is necessary, if it is some methods are necessary, then take the method and give the citation. Other than the data manipulation should not be happen for the self citation. So that's why even UGC regulation also suggested that for the plagiarism, not only plagiarism is not only copied by someone's work, is also self citation also is going to be self plagiarism as a plagiarism. So that's why we should avoid the self plagiarism also. Once we have published means it is published. Forget about that. And if it is necessary, then copy some of the methods and move further data and give the new knowledge to the society. And one more thing, and many of the researchers will present their own work in the conferences. If you present your conference work, sometimes the conference may publish your work. What are the results? Actually, the main agenda to present our research work in the conference means to take a feedback. To take a feedback from the respective field experts. So that is one of the way it is a good to get a feedback. And one more thing, if the conference is taking proceedings, then if suppose the author given his results to in the conference proceedings, at the same time, after some doing extra results, he is going to communicate the same results to the journal. If journal published and the conference proceedings still is going to be published, then which one is the first? Which one? That means if after some days conference proceedings also published, then either one of the articles should be plagiarized. Is it plagiarized? So that means either which one is published first, that will be original work, and remaining one will be retraction. So then the retraction means the one series is placed on the as a retraction on the article, the entire career will fall down. Remember. So that's why to avoid that, if those who are sending those results in conference proceedings and publishing in the respective journals, while communicating the journal, just mention in the reference or acknowledgement these data has been presented in the respective conference. Then you are safe. If it is without this proper citation or credit, if you published, then this will be plagiarism. Even though your own result, so publishing more than once, it is a plagiarism. So to avoid those plagiarisms, these are all the do's and don'ts plagiarism. That means you give a proper credit references where you have copied from the another research work and mentioned all the sources information properly, and provide the acknowledgement and footnote if you borrowed some of the results from the other articles, and paraphrase the authentic work, and seek permission from the creator or original work for the extensive quotations. So if suppose some methods, if some examples, if you want to take from the some of the published work, first ask the permission. So if suppose if they have given, then you are going to cite it. So unless citation, so it is nothing but a plagiarism, and avoid the self-plagiarism. And this is about the plagiarism. Time is moving. Next, to move to the conflict of interest. Am I audible, madam? Hello?
Sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Shall I continue another 30 minutes?
Yes sir, please continue.
Okay.
Please.
Next concept is conflict of interest. What do you mean by the conflict of interest? The conflict of interest says that the research can be defined as a situation in which an individual has the interest in the outcome of the research that may lead to a personal advantage, and that might therefore in actual and appearance the compromises in the integrity of the research. That's what the conflict of interest. So that means while communicating in the any respective journal, they will ask, or else if you observe some of the journals in the last page, they will mention conflict of interest, disclosures, acknowledgement. In that section, we should mention if I have any conflict of interest to publish our research work, I should clearly mention disclose. So then it is a right way to publish your research work. So for example, some of the conflicts of interest in the research is as follows. Accepting the gratuities. Regarding the acceptance of the gratuities, the statement will going to be like this. That means accepting favors of gifts from the companies that sponsors or do business with the researchers. This is the one of the statement for the conflict of interest. Similarly, one more regarding the financial interest. Having a financial interest in the outcome of the research, such as owning stock in a company developing a new drug. That means what it says, whatever the research work, whatever the synthesizing process of the drug represented in the respected research article, this will be correlated with the respective company. Indirectly, he is saying the synthesizing is given to permit the respective company. So from this conflict of interest, easily anyone can understand, oh, this is already given to someone, so I don't have a right to synthesize this or to synthesize this drug or copy of these methods or copy of this whatever the data present in the research article. That is the importance of your conflict of interest. And the conflict of interest can undermine the scientific integrity and public trust in the research. To address this, the most journal requires the authors to disclose any conflict of interest related to their research work. They will ask in the initial of the submission. And here, if you see the conflict of interest, there can be several conflict of interest that can be unfortunately harm the quality of the journal. So that means what this says means, if I am the researcher working under the some of the institution, I am abide by the rules by the institution. If there is a conflict in between the researcher and the institution, then it affects on the results of the research work. If the researcher won't do properly the research work, if there is a conflict in between the institution and researcher, so that means so that's why publishing your research work under the title of conflict of interest, you should be mentioned everything, and before entering the research fellow into the institution, they will make an agreement. With the agreement, they will enter to the institutions. Without agreement, no one enter to the institutions. So in that institution, they will make it under this whatever they need. What has the work has to be done by the researcher researcher. This should be clearly mentioned and take a sign out from the researcher. So that means this should be do in the proper way in the beginning of the research work starts. And next, the editor and reviewers should declare any potential conflict of interest and should avoid the situation that could create a conflict of interest. So for example, while I'm communicating the research article to the respective journal, they will ask whether a reviewer, given some of the reviewers and non-reviewers. In the non-reviewers, if I suggest some of the name, so that is my conflict of interest. Conflict interest saying to the journal, please don't send my research article to that fellow. So in the initial, I will mention that. So that is a reviewer saying the conflict of interest, author saying the conflict of interest against some of the reviewer. So this should be say in the beginning of the submitting our research articles. And similarly, next one, the journal have procedure in place for solving the conflicts between the authors, reviewers and editors. These includes addressing any allegations and of misconduct or ethical violation and taking the appropriate action. So that means sometimes author are not going to reveal some of the result work carried out on the animals. If it is identified by the journals, he should take immediately take conflict of interest from the author. So because he may, if it is without taking concern, if they are published means whatever the data in published work, it is a data regarding conduction of experiment on the animals. But author has not been suggested any conflict of interest on animals. You see, simply directly taking any animals or any patient, it is strictly prohibited. With consent of the respective authority, we can conduct the research work. So in India, so directly we cannot do the research on the human beings. The first we do, whatever the drug we synthesize it, first we inject to the similar structure animals which are close to our human body. Then only, and if you wanna inject to the human being, first you need to take a consent from the respective patient. Then only we can, or else it is strictly prohibited. So that procedure should be observed by the journals. And conflict of interest do not always stop the articles from being published or the prevent reviewer from being involved in the research process, but it will ask the justification. So finally, so it won't possible to stop the publication to publish. And this is some more the conflict of interest. Journal just take a assure about this conflict of interest. That is first disclosure, evaluation, and review process. In the disclosure, all authors, reviewers, and editors must disclose any potential conflict. So, including editor, reviewer, and author must be disclosed. In the evaluation process, the journal editors will evaluate any disclosed conflicts of interest and determine if they present the potential threat to the integrity of the publication. If the conflict of interest is identified, the editor will work with the author to address the respective issues. And in the review process, the journal peer review process includes the thorough evaluation of the potential for the conflict interest. The reviewers are instructed to notify our editors of any concern they have regarded potential conflicts of interest, and the journal editors will take the appropriate action to address the respective concern. These are about the conflict of interest. Directly, due to unavailability of time, I will directly move to the one more concept, that is a scientific misconduct. In the what do you mean by scientific misconduct? If scientific misconduct says the researchers should follow ethical guidelines when conducting the research, including obtaining the informed consent from human subject, using animals in research only when necessary, and it is accordance with the ethical standards, and avoiding any misconduct or unethical behavior. So similarly, just now I told, so we don't have a right to conduct the research directly on the human being. So right, these are the scientific misconduct, one of the example. And how to the identification process of and dealing with the research misconduct issues, they are as follows. One, the editors of the journals are fully committed to taking the required steps to identify the halt the publication of the papers where there is research misconduct, such as citation manipulation, plagiarism, and data falsification and fabrication. So that means here it says editors should identify the where the exactly scientific misconduct happened. The misconduct is going to be happening through scientific way in the research articles by the plagiarism and data falsification and fabrication. If the editors identify this, immediately you should seek justification from the author. That means you should not allow for the scientific misconduct. And next, a peer review reveals chances of misconduct, and the editors will inform peer reviewers about these possibilities. That means in the peer reviewers, easily we can identify where the misconduct is going to be happening. And in case of peer reviewers rise the issues of serious misconduct, like as a falsification, data fabrication, and plagiarism, image manipulation, then they must not be taken lightly. And with journals or editors must not be taken lightly. This includes investigating any allegations of misconduct and taking appropriate action, such as retracting the published articles, banning the author from the future publication. However, the author hold the right to respond to such blames and for investigation to be undertaken quickly and properly. So that means this case says, already I have many times I have repeated that if it is serious misconduct is going to be happening in the research article, definitely the article one or the other way is going to be punishable, either banning from the submission or informing the respective institution, the parent institution, or else they are going to retracting the respective articles. The retracting is there is no use from the retracted articles, simply it is on the web page. And journals have established the following policies regarding the misconduct. That means to avoid the scientific misconduct, journals are going to be following these rules. That means these things. One is plagiarism. First, he will identify whether it is going to be plagiarized or not. If it is a plagiarism, he is going to be reject, or else he will suggest to resubmit. And second one, the falsification of data. Then this falsification of data and fabrication of data can be identified in the review process. The reviewer can suggest the whole data is a falsification or fabrication, then it is going to be rejected from the review process. And authorship. The authorship should be limited to those who have made a significant contribution to the research. So, and journal also identified this. So that's why in the last page of the articles, the journals will ask, give the proper introduction about the all contributed authors, and they will also ask what are the things contributed by the each individual contributors. This is also going to be mentioned in the last of the articles by the some of the journals. And the journal must be aware of the conflict of interest. This must be done by the all authors, and even sometimes editors and reviewers. And retraction. If suppose some in some cases some falsified data or fabricated data or plagiarized data is published, then after also, if it is published means not it's over. After also journal can retract. If it is identified, then they will place retracted journals. So these are all the process is going to be conducted by the journals to avoid the scientific misconduct. And next, the important topic is predatory journal. You see, it is a research work means it is our hard work. We do effort, maybe more than a year, sometimes 6 months, more than a year, long duration data. After doing the research work, we will get some of the data. If those sweating data is published in predatory journal, that means it is a waste of time, waste of money, and waste of reputation. So what do you mean by the predatory journals? So what is a predatory publishing? And you see, in scientific publishing, the predatory publishing also writes only publishing or descriptive publishing is an exploitative academic publishing business model. I am saying it is a business model that involves charging publication fee to authors without checking articles for quality and legitimacy. So that means many of you may got emails like our journal is publishing some of the areas research work, and we are a fast publication and we are a highly impact factor journal. So please send your article and we will publish soon. Like that, they will campaign. So you should not believe such an assurance, because they are fake journals. They are fake journals because nowadays nowadays research publication is required for many reasons. For example, academicians need it for the promotion, and or maintains academic records or positions such as a professorship, and researchers need it to demonstrate the research and publication skills, which helps in securing the grants. Similarly, the students need it to secure a scholarship and improve track record for career growth. But the publishing in a genuine journal is a difficult task. It takes long time. I have told, just if you want to publish any elsewhere Springer, like standard journals, it will take more than minimum 6 months to 1 year. Sometimes it's beyond 1 year. So right. So many of you have an experience regarding that. But it is a difficult task, and this advantages has been taken by the some of the publisher. That means the publishing original research work in a critical to academic and professional achievement. When selecting the journal to which you will be submit your work, it is important to consider the opinions very carefully. And while there are many academic journals, maybe more than 3,000 journals are available, out of those, one of the surveys says that 10,000 journals are predatory journals. So just imagine how many journals are making a business by publishing your research work. So actually, the predatory journals are the one that exploits the open access publishing model to make a money. And it came into the around 2010. So where the open access publishers were publishing it to publish articles with a little or no peer review process, and publishing an article in genuine journal requires various steps, right? Hence the predatory journals have identified this as an genuine as an opportunity, so which sends researchers and academicians emails to publish their research journals in a week or in a 2 week or in a month. So publish the research work as a couple of weeks, like they will send an emails. So these are all nothing but the example for predatory journals. The genuine journals won't campaign, remember. This is nothing but some of the characteristics, how we can identify the predatory journals. The predatory journals can be identified by using these parameters. What are those parameters? First one, accepting articles quickly with the little and no peer review or quality control, including the fake papers. If you send today, maybe within 1 week or 1 month, you will get it is going to be published. This is the one characteristics of a predatory journal. And next, interfere with the editorial process to ensure acceptance of low quality articles. So that means those publishers interfere with the editorial process, and they will say for the editorial board, accept all articles which are having low quality articles also. So that means if our hard sweating results is published in the predatory journal, at the same way some fabricated or plagiarized result are also publishing in the same journal, then both are the same. There is no difference of the two articles, right? So that's why we should avoid the publishing in the predatory journals, and notifying the academics of articles fees only after papers are accepted. So that is, before sending to the our research article to the journal, they won't say about anything about the publication fee. But after accepted, so he will send the mail. Your article is accepted. So this is the publication charge. Please pay and get your print. So this is a fake, right? So if whatever things, you should initially suggest the respective authors. And next, aggressively campaign for the academics to submit articles to serve on editorial board. So similarly, they will campaign, they will send the email to the respective editors or authors to publish their work in the respective journals by paying. And appointing fake academics, they will appoint the fake academics with no track records, and they will allow the editors to publish repeatedly. And you see, many journals have a restriction. Even I also submitted some of the journal. The maximum they will publish 2 to 3 of the single author. If more than 3, they will reject, because this year you have completed what is the maximum number of publications in this respective journal. So due to that, you can publish elsewhere. So in that way, they will suggest. So I have my own experience in that way. So that's why. But here, where with the predatory journals, that they won't any cap and cut off. You may send more than 5, 10, many number of articles you can send and publish it. And mimicking the name or website's style for established journal. And those journals are look like well-established journals. They will make arrangements in that way. And also making a misleading claims about the publishing operation, such as a false location, and citing the fake and non-existing impact factor. They will simply put the high impact factor. Remember, the impact factor, there is a formula to find the how many articles published, how many times cited. Based on that, they will give a impact factor. Simply won't possible to get an impact factor 8, 10, 11. This is the fake impact factor. And the boosting about the being indexed by academic social networking, and they also place in their website. So our journal is indexed, ResearchGate, SGR ranking, DAOIS number and ISS number. Simply without having those credentials, they will place in their websites. These are all the characteristics of your predatory journals. So that's why I request all of you, please avoid publish research articles in the predatory journals. So how to avoid it? So avoid means there is a .com, the predatorjournal.com or Bell's list. Go and check whether the where you want to submit your research article, it is in that list. Then please come, don't submit the respective journal. The search for some other journal. So in that way, we can identify it is the respective journal is in the list of predatory journals. And more thing, just now SJR ranking. Just go to the website and put type SJR ranking. That site will give the plenty of journals names. They are Q journals. They are Q journals. That means Q1, Q2. You might have heard the name Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 journals. They are inevitably either in the Scopus or Web of Science, sometimes both. Many of the journals satisfies the all academic social networking, indexed criteria. So while in the future, if you are submitting any research article, please search in the SDR ranking where your respective work is fit to the respective journal and communicate that. So to avoid the predatory journals. And finally, some of the postulates for maintaining the ethical standards in higher education. So because we are all in the same higher education category, so that's why we need to maintain some ethical standards in the higher education. Those are, I'm not going to explain more, just highlighting this, the reliability and integrity. So that means whatever the work we are doing, it should be reliability of our research work, and it should be integrity for the social welfare. And objectivity must be fulfilled. Whatever the objective we fixed at the beginning of the research work, it should be fulfilled. And genuinity. So genuinity must be important. We should not be plagiarism. We should avoid the plagiarism. Genuine research work should be published and respect the intellectual property. That means we should not copy. If we borrowed some of the work, we should give a credit, citation to respect the intellectual property and novelty in the publication. Publish good work in the good journal. And the protection of subject and human or animal. That means simply we won't possible to conduct the research work on the animals and humans directly. So with abide by the rules, we should follow the rules, and if it is necessary, then only we can conduct the research work on the respective human and animals. And agreement for the consent. If we are working by the some of the institution, that means abide by the rules, we should be consent, the agreement. And confidentiality and anonymity. So that means whatever the work we are doing, it should be confidentiality. That means researchers with the authorization from the respondent about their personal details need to exercise due caution of their data. That means if suppose I am making some survey regarding the collection, regarding some of the diseases or some of the information regarding the hospital maintenance, they will say, so this is a confidential report, you should not reveal it. That means we should give importance for them, whatever the words. So we should not reveal the respective consent authority. These are about the publication ethics, and these are the references I have taken this data from these references, and thank you. If any doubts, you can clarify. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. It's audible.
If any doubts, please clarify yourself.
Okay, no more questions, sir. Thank you, sir, for your outstanding presentation and impressive talk on publication ethics. Your insightful presentation was a highlight of the event, providing valuable perspectives and expertise to our audience. Your ability to engage and inspire the participants was impressive. Your willingness, enthusiasm, passion, and dedication to sharing knowledge is truly appreciated. Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking talk on plagiarism, authorship dispute, ethical standards, role and responsibilities of authors as well as publishers, and the role of editors. We are grateful to you for your availability to share your valuable thoughts and insights with us. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Then we will proceed to the last session of the day, expressing gratitude for the fruitful day. My heartfelt thanks to our guest speakers, Dr. Kamruddin, and the second session speaker of the day, Dr. Kumbi Narsaya, and all the participants for your valuable participation in the third day of the webinar. I sincerely thank each and everyone wholeheartedly for glorifying the webinar with your gracious presence. Thank you everyone for being a part of today's enriching experience. I would like to wind up this day with a few announcements to the participants. Feedback form will be sent to your registered mail ID. All those who are attending the webinar and filling up the feedback every day will be receiving the certificate at the end of the 5-day National Webinar-cum-FDP. So, once again, I thank you all for making today's session very effective and successful. Hope to meet you all for the fourth day of the webinar tomorrow. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.